Welcome to the Rise and Thrive Revolution, the podcast for empowered women seeking growth, spiritual wisdom, and holistic well-being. I'm Victoria, a body confidence coach and the founder of Empower Her Health and Fitness. And I'm going to be your guide on this journey to rebel against the norms that society have told you to lead, to live a life filled with joy and purpose. So join me in each episode as we dive into empowering conversations on everything from embracing change, building resilience, to health, nutrition, and overall wellness. Because true empowerment begins with taking care of your mind, body, and soul. So thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Let's get ready to rebel against the ordinary and embark on a transformative journey together. Let's get ready to rise and thrive. Hello and welcome back to the Rise and Thrive Revolution. Thank you so much for being here as always. I'm so grateful that you tune in and listen to these podcasts. And I love it when I get messages from you letting me know any of your takeaways. So yeah, today's no different because today I'm going to be diving into something that I'm probably going to get some backlash for, to be fair, but I'm not here to play it small, and I'm here to have interesting conversations that open up different parts of ourselves that allow us to question the belief systems that we really have. And, there's a lot of beliefs and things that we've picked up over the years that are subconscious beliefs that we have to act a certain way, we have to be a certain way. And these subconscious beliefs actually stop us from taking a step forward. So for example, I was in a session with a client recently we were talking about a fear that she has, and a fear that was preventing her from speaking her truth because of an event that had happened to her, something someone had said to her a couple of times when she was younger. And we discussed how actually when we hold ourselves back from speaking something that's true, we are hurting ourselves. But when we allow ourselves to eradicate that fear and not have that fear anymore, and we open up and speak something, what is the butterfly effect of that? And in this particular experience, we explored the fact that actually, if she opens up and speaks this story, there was going to be a butterfly effect of deep, deep healing and magical moments that would spread around a multitude of people just from her having the trust and belief for her to open up and share a story that's really close to her heart. And this is why we are, as society, so pulled down into speaking our truth, because the subconscious belief that we are, if we do, something bad's going to happen, people are going to judge us, people are going to say things about us, people aren't going to believe us, people aren't going to listen, when it's not really our responsibility to worry about what other people do with the information that we share. It's our responsibility to share information that's true to us. And the whole quote of it's my responsibility to speak my truth. It is not my responsibility how other people choose to receive me. And this is, it's so important that as women, we are empowered to understand that we don't need to play it small. We don't need to hide away our truth, or we don't need to not say things that are true to ourselves, and not allow the subconscious programming in your mind where someone has once told you that you can't say that, you can't do that, you can't be that, stop us and prevent us from stepping forward. And we all have thoughts going through our minds every day. And this is something that I want to share because I feel like if I don't share this is going to stop women from healing. Because the message that I'm sharing today, I think for me, when I stepped away from this, it really healed me. It healed me on a different level and allowed me to be a better person in the world. And yeah, that's my aim for today, is to share this message with you guys and for you to receive it however you choose to receive the message. Today, I'm going to be talking about feminism, and I'm not talking about feminism in a positive way. I am talking about toxic feminism, the feminism that is floating around now that has stolen parts of us and allowed us to now believe that we are men. And I don't think it's a positive thing. So that's my story that I am going to share today of why I think this. And, the reason feminism's original intent was equal rights, right? We wanted to be able to vote. We wanted to be able to be paid the same. But toxic feminism is pressurizing women into rejecting their femininity and pushing hyper-independence and acting like men as the ideal. And that is not what we are after at all. And, when with this forcing of this femininity, this forcing of toxic feminism, we then encourage hyper independence. And that's the lady that is, it's okay, I got this. I can do this myself. I don't need anyone to help me. I don't need a man. I'm okay. I can reject any help. I'm going to be able to do all the things. And actually, what happens with that is it leads to burnout. It leads to a stressed out mother, woman, boss, and it leads to burnout because she's constantly saying, I got this. When we are not born on this planet to be solitary animals, we are born to live in a community where we care and look after each other. And, the whole quote of it takes a village to raise a child. This is human nature for us to call on each other to help each other because we don't always know all the answers. Now, hyper-independence can come from many different streams of one society that tells us, you got it. Yeah, as a woman, you don't need that. You can do it yourself. Yeah, like, fuck men, all this, right? And I was such a big part of this, by the way. If you're listening to this and you've known me for a while, this has been a really, really big part of my healing journey because actually when I was in the Navy, I borderline wanted to be a man. I didn't want to be a man. I have to be careful how I word that. I wanted to be able to join the Marines. I was that into believing that men were better than women, that I wanted the equal rights to prove that men, almost because they put men on this pedestal of like, yeah, they get paid more, so we need to rise up to meet them to prove that we can be that, when it was never about that. A woman's a woman and a man's a man, and men go to war and join the Marines. That's for them. But that was my truth. That's what I wanted to do because I believed that men were better than women, and I had this sister wound. I didn't want to interact with women. I preferred male friends. I was, it was a wound. And it prevented me in so many ways from being able to enjoy my life because I was constantly trying to be one of the lads, to the point where I even auditioned for the TV show Lad to Ladette. Had my ship not been going on tour, I think I would have actually got onto the TV show because I got into the finals, because I just wanted to be as good as the men. I wanted to drink the pints and down the pints and go out with the lads. And there's a whole, thing that I was believing was because men were better than women. And this then created me believing I need to be hyper independent. I can do it all myself and I don't need anyone to help me. And I've got this. And these patterns come from society, as mine did, but they can also come from childhood as well, where we perhaps learn to look after ourselves and not learn to ask for help, or help isn't available at the time that we want it. So we therefore learn to be independent, to look after ourselves. And that's not how we are born to be. My belief is that we're born to help each other, and it's a journey that we rise together. We don't rise alone. And this comes with the feminine and masculine being out of balance. So your feminine, if you look at your feminine as the moon, she changes phases every 28 days. Your masculine is the sun. He rises and sets every 24 hours. That is a difference in feminine and masculine. Men cycle every 24 hours. Women cycle every 28 days. And we need both to survive. We need a balance of both. Without one, we don't have the other. Or we are over too much. So if we have too much masculine, we've got too much structure, too much drive, too much. Can you ever have too much ambition? That's a question. But too much of that hyper independence and I don't need anything. And there's no space then for having this flow and this creative and this feminine softness that we all have. And that doesn't mean that women shouldn't be lifting weights. Of course not. I'm doing this podcast for my gym, but lifting weights doesn't make you any less of a woman, and accepting help doesn't make you weak. So we can have both. You can go and lift the weights and be strong and all that, but asking for help doesn't make you weak. For example, now in the past couple of years, when I get on an airplane, I get on a train or whatever, and there's lifting my bag up to the upper rack. If a man comes over and says, "Do you want me to get that?" Thank you. I'm going to receive that. Now, why would I not? Why would I go into I can do it. I'm strong enough. Yeah, I'm fucking strong enough. I know I am. I need to prove it to this man I'm strong enough. He probably knows I'm strong enough. It's just being nice, because men want to serve and women want to receive. That is in our nature. Why would I exert myself? Why would I? He's offering to do it. He's going to find it easier because men are stronger than women physically. There is no denying that. Have the capacity to be as strong as men. We just don't. That doesn't make us any less of a human being. It means that men physiologically have more muscle mass, and will be stronger. So therefore, he's going to find it easier to lift it up there. So it's going to exert him less. Yeah, please, thank you. And allowing myself to receive someone wanting to help me. And this goes through so many phases in life, when I get to the house and I've got the shopping, I'll call my boyfriend, can you come out and get the shopping? He knows I can carry it. I can carry it. Why don't I just get him to come out and help? Ask him. Also, that is me calling him out on, women like, oh, I've gone and done the shopping. I'll go and get it. I'll unpack it. I'll do it all. When's the last time you actually just sat back and let your partner do it? Or you asked him to do it without interfering, without thinking you can do it better, without pushing him out the way because he's doing it wrong. When's the last time that you were just like, okay, I've just done the shopping. I'm going to let him get the bags out and unpack the shopping. It's going to let him do it. I'm going to ask him. I'm going to ask him if he can do that for me. And then I'm going to let him, because it is so common. I hear women all the time saying, oh, yeah, but he just does this or he does it like that. Just let him do it how he does it. Because he doesn't do it how you do it doesn't mean it's wrong, especially when it comes to something so petty as putting the shopping away, we need to let men be men and allow them to do things for us. And we need to allow ourselves to receive. And, women, our natural strengths are nurturing, being emotionally intelligent. We can lead with empathy. We lead with our heart. And these qualities are often downplayed in the toxic feminist story, These qualities are so valuable and not a sign of weakness. The whole, the snowflake, oh no, she's not been. No, these are such amazing qualities to be a heart-led leader that thinks with her heart and intuitively feels, as opposed to just going with the head. And this is where we invite the balance. We can use a bit of the head, a bit of the logic, but we also ask the heart as well, as opposed to it always being so, women, they cry. Yeah, we do. We do cry a bit more than men. That's not a bad quality. It's not. And it's a good quality to have, actually, how powerful that we're able to show our emotions and move them. And, men do struggle with that, right? So societal expectations versus personal desires. So there is a pressure from society and some feminist circles that suggests that women must take on a traditionally male role or behaviors to prove their worth. But to me, the liberation is choosing a path that feels authentic, whether that is fixing doors or staying at home with the kids, whatever it is for you, because society has taught, and this is my issue, has taught us that we can do everything, and for us to take on these male roles, and this is how we can do everything, when actually our soul is probably calling us to be more nurturing and follow the path that feels more authentic. Now, that might mean that you're the person in the household that fixes the doors and puts the shelf up, and your husband is the person that bakes the cakes. And right, these are traditionally, I'm using my hands here to make speech bubbles, but traditionally male versus female roles. Now, what could happen is you could fix the door and fix the shelf and bake the cake, but then you're not allowing anything to be received. So it's about finding that balance and finding the balance within your household and knowing that you don't have to do it all. You've just got to learn to ask, and you've got to learn to sit back, and you've got to learn to receive it. And sometimes, like this toxic feminism, we're taking away men's masculinity, but we don't need you to do it. It minimizes their roles, when actually we should be empowering them to be like, oh man, like, yeah, you're so good. We need men to be men. We need them to be, and we need the masculine inside the feminine. We need it. We do, but we're still women. We're still women at heart. We still have that female desire to nurture, to be more feminine, however that looks for you. Now, it isn't about wearing pink flowery dresses. You'll never get me in one. I wore one a couple of weeks ago. Didn't feel good. Not for me, right? But I can still be really feminine. I can still, well, I don't dress like a tomboy, but if I dress how I choose to dress, that isn't typically feminine, and still be really feminine. Okay. And when we are, taking on all these roles, we're almost like taking away men's strengths, where we're meant to complement each other's strengths, And actually, when we're talking about like women taking on all these roles, this is like the hyper independence. And the hyper independence really does contribute to higher rates of stress, burnout, even loneliness, because women are trying to balance this work-home life, and we're trying to manage everything and do everything, and that's not what we're supposed to do. It never was. And when we think about women in leadership and how they may say, oh, they're too emotional, but we have more emotional intelligence, which is a fact. We can communicate with leadership and empathy a lot easier, and these traits aren't less valuable than the stereotypical male who is more assertive or competitive. And it's about recognizing our strengths and weaknesses, and it doesn't matter if they're more masculine or feminine, but having a balance of the two. In historical feminism, it initially focused on legal rights like voting and education. So some people argue that modern iterations like toxic feminism have moved away from that balance and encouraging women to reject their natural desires in pursuit of societal approval, which is what we were talking about, right? We are encouraging women to get so into their masculine that they are rejecting the what is the core of their being, which is to be more feminine, more flowing, more softer. So the science behind masculine and feminine energies, the psychology research supports the idea that people thrive when they're in balance of both masculine, which is the assertive, independent, competitive, and feminine, which is nurturing, collaborative, slow, and soft energies. And this is regardless of gender. It's about having the balance. If you have a man that is so in his masculine, he's too competitive, he's too driven, when's he taking the time to nurture, to slow, to really feel himself? And the same with women, we need to have both. And it's the whole analogy of, if you had a bottle of water and it didn't have any water in it, you just had a bottle, the bottle would be the masculine, the structure, the thing that holds it all together. But without the feminine, it's dry. If we had the feminine, which is the water, without the bottle, the water's all over the place. There's no structure. We need both. You need the structure of the bottle with the water in between to offer that blend of masculine and feminine. So I've got a quote here that says, according to recent surveys, many women are seeking to return to more traditional, balanced roles where they can embrace femininity without being seen as less empowered. And yes, hallelujah to that. Absolutely hallelujah to that. What I would invite you, after you've listened to this podcast, to ask, where can you invite more soft flow into your life? Where can you reclaim parts of your femininity that perhaps you've lost, where you've been hyper independent? Where can you allow yourself to receive in everyday life? Maybe that's being out and about and allowing someone to hold the door for you without rushing towards it. If they're holding the door without running, they've offered to open the door. Just walk at the pace you're walking at and let them hold the door open for you. Perhaps they offer to carry something. Let them. Where can you be in a place to receive? And this isn't always a man that may be holding the door, maybe a woman, masculine and feminine. We can have both. But allowing yourself to receive instead of being in this, I'm okay, I've got it. No, you don't have to have it all. It's okay. You don't. See where you can allow yourself. And if you are in a partnership, where can you allow your partner to help? Because I ask you to question now, like, when you are moaning about your partner not doing anything, this is a super annoying thing to happen, but are you stopping him? Are you criticizing him every time he goes to help you? Does he go to clean and you just criticize him? Because then he's literally going to think, well, fuck it, I'm not doing it anymore. Does he mop differently and you're just having to go at him for it? You've got to just sit back and be like, okay, he's offering to mop the floor. I'm going to let him mop the floor. I'm going to receive that. I'm not going to criticize. I'm not going to say anything about it because he's doing the best he knows with what's available to him. That's all we're ever doing. And just because someone isn't doing something how you do it doesn't mean that they're doing it wrong. Okay. So just an invitation there to see where you can allow yourself to receive without being hyper critical, without being micromanaging, without telling them how to do it. Just let yourself receive from your partner. In the workplace, perhaps your boss offers you to do something for you. Let yourself receive. And if you are self-employed, instead of always constantly putting out there and being in that masculine, where can you just sit back and receive and let people come to you a little bit more? And when your clients, like, do you need to constantly be out there? Let them come to you to ask the questions instead of you constantly driving, or however it looks for you. Just allowing yourself to receive in a different way, in a more feminine, magnetic way that just feels so natural and soft and easy. For me, this has been a complete game changer. I was so stuck in my masculine, especially when I was in the Navy. And then I was stuck in this hustle mode of, I always need to be busy. I'm always busy. This is like, it was like a badge of honor for me. And then when I just stepped back and was like, I'm not busy. I'm busy enough, but I can just let myself receive. I'm going to take a nap. I'm going to go and meditate and not always be forcing myself to do things and just letting myself receive in a different way. And yeah, I just want you to, I'd love for you to let me know what feminism means for you. Like, it doesn't mean have to mean like rejecting help or acting like a man or whatever it is. It can mean embracing that unique blend of strength and softness and allowing yourself to be supported. Toxic feminism, I've had an absolute enough of it. We are women and we want to be treated like women and we want to act like women. And it doesn't matter if you like baking cakes and staying at home and wearing floral dresses. That is not a bad thing. It's an empowering thing because you are following your own alignment and what is true to you, as opposed to thinking, I'm too girly, I'm too this. No, you're never too much. You are absolutely everything that you need to be and more. And when you can sit back and really, really allow yourself to just receive and to remind yourself who the fuck you are, which is a woman, you are here on this earth. Perhaps you have children, perhaps you've birthed children. We've got this culture that's like, it's almost like women who stay at home to look after the children and choose not to go out to work are embarrassed or hide that they're doing that. Sometimes they're like, oh, well, no, of course you just stay at home because that's what you want to do. You want to look after your babies at home, and that is what comes naturally to you. Naturally, as a woman, we want to nurture, we want to perhaps be at home with the children, but also it's okay if you've got a career and you want to go out there and you want to smash it. These are all okay, but that doesn't mean you have to lose those parts of yourself. You can still come home and be nurtured and receive and be nurturing and be all the things, and stop kind of encouraging the behavior that is women should be giving birth and going back to work, and that it's not cool to just want to be a mum, or it's not cool to just want to float around the woods in a flowery dress, like whatever it is. We are women and we want to be women and we want to be treated like women and we want to allow ourselves, when I look at films and it's like anything from like, say, before the 90s, and they're all out with their pretty gloves on and they've all got little handbags and their gorgeous skirts and their dresses and their little blazers, and the men are holding the doors open for them. They're going to their house to pick them up before they go on a date. They take them for the date. They drop them off. They're treating them like a woman, and the woman is allowing themselves to receive. You know what I mean? The type of Hollywood movies I mean. Whereas now it's like, oh, I'm meeting him there. I'm going to get myself there. No, let's bring it back to allowing ourselves to be open enough to just receive, to let a man do it. I will sometimes just sit back and let my boyfriend do the things that I just don't want to exert my energy doing. When we get on an airplane, I don't lift the bag up. He's going to do it. And if he doesn't notice that he needs to do it, I'm like, babe, can you lift my bag up to the, yeah, thank you. Because that's what he wants to do as well. You're allowing him to be a man by allowing him to have that role of like, yes, I can help. I want to, because that's what they want to do. Naturally, men went out and, women did hunt, but men went out and hunted and provided. And the women were at home, and that's naturally within us to do that. And, I just invite you to get rid of that toxic femininity, remove it from your life. Don't let the thought of being more feminine scare you for being feminine, because, yeah, I think it's a beautiful thing. And when we can be more feminine and we can slow down, we're going to eradicate more burnout because we're accepting more help. We're receiving more help. We are going to be less tired. We're going to be happier people. We're going to be nicer people if we allow ourselves to just receive and to not be hyper independent and do everything for everyone all the time. So I hope you've taken something from today. If you have, I would love to hear from you. You can drop me a message on Instagram, Empowered by Victoria. Of course, I love reviews. Any reviews you want to share, if you're listening on your favorite podcast platform, you can leave a review. If you're on Spotify, leave 5 stars, all the things. Sharing is caring. We rise together. We rise and thrive together. Thank you for listening. So thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Rise and Thrive Revolution. I just want to express my gratitude for you listening, because you put yourself out there and it means a lot that people are spending their time listening to what you've got to share. So I truly, truly hope you got something from it and you found some inspiration for your journey. Now, I'm just going to invite you to take a moment, if you can, to leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. If you're listening on Spotify, you can give me 5 stars. Of course, my inbox is open if you want to send a review via my inbox, or just let me know what you thought, any questions you've got. I'd love to hear from you. If you do want to follow me on social media, it's Empowered by Victoria. If you want to follow the gym I own, empowerher.health.fitness. We are a female-only community who are here to transport and inspire women on an empowering journey. So thanks again for listening. Until next time, let's rebel against the ordinary. Let's get ready to rise and thrive.